I was a child. Y'all, I do not want to cry on this camera. To this day, they still don't like me. Now I could give two flying fucks. Healing is so hard. What's up, beautiful babes? It is me, Anisha Lachey, back with episode 1 of This Is Me, My Healing Journey. Okay, y'all, so this is really a series that I started on TikTok, but I could elaborate more on a lot of things now that I'm on YouTube. So yeah, I started this series probably a few months ago on TikTok, and I was doing like little episodes here and there talking about different things that I'm like healing from, different things that I've healed from, but I'm bringing it over to YouTube just so I can elaborate a little bit more. Today I want to talk about how my family was my first heartbreak. When I was younger, I didn't really see it that way, but as I got older and I started being in therapy, I realized that that's really what it was. So I had an issue, or they had an issue. My dad's side of the family had several issues. So a little background about me. I grew up the only girl in my household. I do have a half sister who lived with us for a little bit. But I pretty much grew up the only girl in the household. I have an older brother, a younger brother. I'm smack in the middle. And honestly, I feel like I grew up like in the shadows of everybody else. So both of my brothers were star athletes. They were in band. They were in like everything. And I was a child who like really wasn't in anything. I was really easy. My mom never had to worry about me. I always got good grades. I never got into any trouble. So it was easy to be kind of forgotten about. And I would never blame my parents for anything. I honestly feel like my parents raised me the best way that they could, to the best of their ability. My parents loved us. They raised us as if they loved us, and we had like a really good life. At no point could I ever say that, you know, I went without anything. Like, we grew up happy. I grew up happy, you know, like I said, I was the only girl, but because I was the only girl and I was like really quiet, I feel like it was just easy for me to be looked over. So as I got older, I just realized that I stood in the shadow of everybody else. I didn't really have a name. I was always like, oh, that's such and such's brother or such and such's cousin. You know, I was never like Anisha. Like, nobody knew who Anisha was, which I feel like kind of created a problem when I got older. My dad's side of the family was definitely my first heartbreak. And these were people that I was related to. These are my first cousins, my dad's sisters, who had a issue with me because I looked like my mom. They didn't care for my mom. They didn't like my mom at all. And they didn't like me for whatever reason. Their target was always talking about my weight. You know, she's a fat bitch. Like, they would call me all types of names in the book. And growing up as a child, you know, hearing that, I never really understood like why these women did not like me, but they hated me. They hated me. So as an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old or even a 10-year-old, you know, you're always getting singled out when you're around these family members. It made you be rebellious. It made you be resentful. And I just didn't get it, you know, because my parents taught me that your family is supposed to love you and they're supposed to care for you and help you. They taught me not to trust family. They taught me that you can't depend on family. They taught me to always have your guard up when it came to family. Like, it was just so toxic. They were toxic as a whole. You know, and I never understood why I was their target. Like, it was a lot of girls. It is a lot of girls on my dad's side of the family. And it was always drama. Like, always drama. One sister in particular she was my dad's sister. She actually passed away before my dad. She always had something to say about me, and I never knew why. Her daughters didn't like me. She didn't like me. And y'all, when I tell y'all I was the sweetest child, like, I was the sweetest. Like, because I was plus size, I always wanted to fit in with everybody. I was always the bigger cousin. I was always, you know, dark skinned. And yeah, I wanted to fit in, like literally with everybody. Like, I wanted to fit in. I'm sipping on a little Stella Rose, y'all. But I never really understood why I didn't fit in. I knew that I was bigger. I knew that I was darker. I was filled out, but not as filled out as they were. And I was just the niece that nobody liked, like literally. And it's so sad now that I think about it, because it's just like, who would want to be pointed out like that? Like, why would you make a child feel that way? You know, feel like they were unwanted. And my mom had to do like damage control and remind me, like, Anisha, you are loved, you know, you are beautiful, you know, don't worry about what anybody has to say about you and all these things, y'all. It was just so crazy. But contrary, my mom's side of the family were so loving. I feel like it was like split in two, because one side, my dad's side of the family, was always so negative, so nasty. But then my mom's side of the family was always so loving, and they accepted me for who I was. Like, but my dad's side of the family, like, y'all, they made me feel like an outcast. They made me feel like I just was just the ugliest person. Like, it just, if I could explain to y'all the feeling, it was literally like being in a room full of people who hated you, like hundreds of people who hated you. And all they wanted to do was talk down to you, look at you weird, and you never understood why, y'all. I was a child. Like, I could remember as young as maybe 8 years old. I was a child. And I never understood, like, why these women did not like me. Like, to this day, they still don't like me. Now I could give two flying. When I was younger, y'all, like, it really bothered me, because I did not understand for the life of me, like, why these women didn't like me. And my dad didn't really have an explanation for me. He didn't, because he didn't really understand. I just knew that I looked like my mom. They didn't like my mom, so therefore they didn't like me. And that's just what it was. My dad's family taught me what hate was. Like, I really started to hate them. I started to resent them. It wasn't all of them, but it was most of them. They were just mean and nasty all the time. And I'm just like, why are people just so mean? Like, you're my family. You should love me. Like, you're my aunt. I should be able to go to you and be like, auntie, like, this is how I'm feeling. Or if I felt like I couldn't go to my mom, which I went to mom about everything, but like, you're my family, you're supposed to love me. And y'all, they hated me, and I had no idea why. It was so sad. Like, so it got to a point to where I resented going around them. Like, I hated going around them. And my mom was not the mom to make us do anything that we did not want to do. So we didn't go, we did not. If we didn't want to go, we did not go. She didn't make it. She was not that mom that made us go down to grandma's house. She never left us down there. Like, at my grandma's house, like all my other dad's sisters did, always left their kids down there at their mama house while they ran the road and drank and smoked and did drugs or whatever else they did. But that just wasn't my mom. You know, my mom she always built me up to be strong and courageous, which I don't really feel like I understood until I got older. Y'all, I do not want to cry on this camera, but this is real. Like, this is healing for me. Like, talking about this is so healing for me, because y'all, growing up as an 8-year-old, not understanding like why my family hated me so much, it was so hurtful. Like, it was so hurtful. Like, it was so hurtful. So as I got older, you know, my mom always poured into me that I was beautiful and I could get through anything and I was strong. But I never really felt that. Like, I never felt like I was strong enough to get through anything, because y'all, the amount of hate that I got when it came to my dad's side of the family was just so hurtful. And I didn't understand it. And I just had a hard time, like, really grasping like why these people did not like me. I got myself together. But that moment was very real. you know how you say something out loud and you hear it and it just sounds bad, and that's what brought the tears. Anyways, but I would like, just imagine, and somebody might understand what I'm saying. Imagine being an 8-year-old and something is happening to you and you don't understand why it's happening to you. And it's happening by a family member. And it could be anything. It could be abuse. It could be, and that could be emotional, physical, sexual, any type of abuse. And you being a child and you're not understanding like why this is taking place. Like, this person hates me this much that they want to hurt me. Like, that's how I felt like as I got older, I just started being really rebellious, and I developed this attitude, and I was angry all the time, and I never really understood or knew why, and nobody else did either. Everybody just always said Anisha has an attitude. Like, her attitude is so nasty. Like, but nobody ever wanted to get to the root of why my attitude was the way that it was. Well, as I got older and I got in therapy, my therapist helped me to understand that my attitude was created behind what I went through when I was a child. You know, I wasn't the perfect child, but I was really sweet. You know, I really was. And, you know, my dad's family has such a large effect on me. Why I did not know. I wanted these people to love me so much. I had one cousin that I got along with. Her name, I'm not gonna name drop. But after one of my dad's sisters passed away, my Aunt Sharnan, me and my brothers were really close to her kids, and my Aunt Sharnan and my mom were best friends. So she passed away from lupus, the same thing my dad passed away from. And when she passed away, her kids went with their dad, and then it was just me and my brothers. So everybody else on that side was just like negative, like all the time. And I never understood why. It was like so unbalanced, because my mom's side of the family, like, they were so sweet and so loving, and I got all the love. We got all the love from that side. And then when it came to my dad's side, like, they were just so nasty. But to be completely honest with y'all, like, I don't care to speak to any of them. Like, I don't hate them at all, but I've disconnected myself with anything that has to do when it comes to me. Now, my brothers, they have their own story. My mom, she has her own story. I honestly do not care to speak to any of them. They've tried to add me on social media. A lot of them are still sitting like in my friend request box. I don't care for them to have any part of my life. Half of them didn't even come to my dad's funeral. And my dad would have given anything to them. Like, anything they called and asked for, he was a giver. Like, that's just what he was. Like, he gave to them all the time. And you couldn't even come to his funeral? I have a problem with that. But I'm at peace with a lot of things that deals with that side of my dad's family. And I just choose not to deal with it. You know, I knew that I needed to heal from a lot of things, so I had to accept a lot of things for what it was. But they really were my first heartbreak. So, yeah. So, I understand that at the end of the day, we're all human. We all make mistakes, you know. Mistakes can be forgiven, but you don't have to forget, you know. And I just choose to not associate myself with that part of my dad's family at all. Like, I choose not to talk to them, and I'm at peace with that. And I hope they come, you know, to grips with whatever they got going on. Like I said, a few of his nieces send me friend requests on like Facebook and Instagram, and I'm sure they watch me on TikTok, you know, whatever, and possibly on YouTube now. Like, I don't care if they watch me. I just choose to not see them on my timeline of anything. So yeah. Oh gosh, y'all. Healing is so hard. Nobody talks about that. Like, nobody talks about the hard parts of healing. Just the phases you go through when you just want to heal. You want to feel better about things. You want to be better about things. You just want to be a better you. But in order for you to be a better you, you have to heal from some things. And a part of my healing journey is accepting that my family was my first heartbreak. So y'all, that is the end of episode 1 of This Is Me, My Healing Journey. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It is my usual content now. It's a little bit more personal, sentimental, emotional, but this is really healing me. It really is, y'all. So I thank y'all so much for watching this episode. Drop a comment down below. Something that you feel like you need to heal from. Drop it down below. I love y'all so much. And like I always say, know that you can get through anything. Literally anything, because God is in control of everything. He loved you so much. I do too. Continue to be the best you and the baddest bitch. Period. Until next time, babes. Bye.